Let's talk about getting a good clean tone. Now, one of the things I like to do is try to get the sound of a tube amp that's just barely on the edge of breakup. But if I can't do that, like if I can't get loud enough, then I will sometimes use a pedal that's a transparent pedal, meaning it doesn't have a bunch of mids. It's fairly neutral EQ. As you turn the gain up, it just sounds more like the amp turning up. One of the pedals I like to use is the Euphoria, sort of set up in this way. And I'll show you how I would dial that in exactly. So right now, I'm on the smooth setting. Well, let me show you my clean tone first. Just a little bit of grit. So when I really dig into it, it's going to break up a little bit more. And also, when I roll my volume back, it's going to clean up. The settings here are how I arrived to it with this guitar, with different pickups, different guitars, everything changes. So let's start from scratch here. So all the way down here, not much going on. I would start just by I would first probably turn the gain up just a little bit on this particular pedal. Every pedal is a little bit differently, like where the clean is with a little bit of crispiness, so to speak. Some pedals don't even have that. Like if you buy if you have let's say a Tube Screamer or something like that, the stock one doesn't quite get all the way clean. It still has a little bit of grit to it. So you can't always do that with every pedal. But a Timmy is really good for this. I've got one of these here. That's another really good pedal for something like this as well. So I'll just get a little bit of grit, and I want my highs to be, I don't want to like really take off the highs like I kind of would with an overdrive, with a typical overdrive, adding gain and stuff, because as you add gain, it kind of gives you these high harmonics, which sounds like a little bit of sizzle, a little bit of fizziness. So you generally, with any overdrive pedal, when you're designing it, you kind of take that stuff out, and a tone control allows you to take more of that stuff out as well. So I'll try to find where it's nice and crispy. I'll try to balance the bass so it's not too bassy. So as you can see, I'm turning it off and on to try to find that balance. Pretty close right there. So there's several different methods you could do. I have a compressor here, of course. I like to use them both together, sometimes depending what I'm going for. And I'll show you what I mean here. If I'm just using an overdrive, then I'll get that tone. And the idea is I just want a little bit of interestingness with my tone. So just a little bit of clipping, a little bit of compression from that clipping, but not like a full-on overdrive. So rather than a normal clean tone without anything, and I'm playing through my Bravado amp, which is assumed kind of like a Fender Deluxe reverb on steroids, kind of, so to speak. So it's a little beefy. It's kind of a beefy deluxe reverb sort of thing, with more EQ options because I like EQ. Anyway, so it's going to be, I tried to make a pretty good clean tone as it is. So it is really helpful on solid state amps as well if you're using solid state amps, or even really just going into a direct into like an interface, like if you're recording or something like that. I'll find that particular tone, and just when I want a little bit more grit, I'll just dig in, and that gives me a little bit more of that tonality of an amp breaking up. I can also put a pedal in front of it and sort of simulate that amp breaking up a little bit, push it like you sort of would a tube amp. Again, that's with the Euphoria using just dirt. Now, a compressor, you can see my settings here. It's pretty exaggerated settings, so lots of sustain. As quick of an attack as I can get. And I will generally start it with the blend. This is important. You need a blend on the compressor. This does not work if you don't have a blend on the compressor. So you need the blend all the way up, fully compressed. What that's giving you right there, of course, is the fully compressed signal, which has its own sound. It's a little rubbery. I guess I kind of think of it kind of like a little rubbery sort of feel to it. So I'll get that with the blend all the way up. Then I'll dial that blend all the way back down. So it's just a clean tone. And then I'll slowly dial this blend in until you just hear the beef of the compression. Now, the next thing, we want to make sure we have unity volume. So turning the pedal on and off to make sure the volume is consistent. So at this point, you may not hear that much of a difference. It may sound like it's not doing anything. The difference really is kind of like around the edges of the notes. It's squashing the peaks a little bit. So when you hit it hard, it kind of squashes it down just a little bit, but not too much, still allowing that clean signal to come through. And then it also gives you a lot more sustain. So when you're playing clean passages, it just sounds a little bit more fuller and it feels a little better to play. Now let's combine it with the dirt because that's yet a different sound. And when you do this, you may have to back the gain back down on the overdrive pedal. Maybe. So that's one of my personal favorite ways just to get a good clean tone. I typically believe that every great clean tone has a little bit of dirt on it. And if it's not from the amp, then it's definitely going to be when they record it, because you're going to get dirt from the compression. You're going to get dirt from the mixing board, just a little bit. And I don't mean like overdrive or distortion, just a little bit of compression, a little bit of clipping. It just adds interestingness. It really does. So give that a try, and I'd love to hear what you think. And like I say every time, shoot me an email. Let me know what kind of videos I can make here in this members area for you that's going to bring you value. That's my whole goal here, and hope you liked it. Thanks for watching.